Hi, we're looking at Innova Primary School, year 2014, SA2, section C, question number 36. Let's take a look at this. Mr. Lim was supposed to arrange some chairs. Okay, now we're looking at chairs for the concert hall, 18 rows of 8 chairs, and he'll be left with 16 remaining chairs. So how many more chairs would he actually need in order to form 12 of 13 rows of 12 chairs? Something very important when you see words like of, okay, of, okay, sorry, it's too thick. Why not let me change this to the pen. Okay, when you see words like of, it actually means multiply, which is times. So for this question, what we're looking at is 18 rows of 8 chairs. And that's equals to, let's do the working here. 4, 6, this 144, 144 chairs. Okay, now we have this. And he'll be left with 6 remaining chairs. So total up, he'll be how many? He'll be 144 plus this 6 remaining chairs. 144 plus 6, and we will have 150. So now they're asking how many more chairs will he need in order to form 13 rows of 12 chairs. So obviously we have to find what is 13 rows of 12 chairs. That is equals to 13 times 12, so 26, and this is 13, so we plus them together is 156, and we have 156 chairs. So 150, 156. So how many more chairs does he need? It's 156 minus 150 equals to 6 chairs. Next, we look at question number 37. This question is about Tim, who actually paid $5.54 for 6 bottles of orange juice. And for every 6 bottles, 2 additional ones will be given to him for free. So, and when Tim left the supermarket, he had a total of 72 bottles of orange juice. So they're asking you, how much did he have to pay in all? Something very important that you should take note of, every 6 bottles, you have 2 bottles free, okay? And when he left, he has a total of 72 bottles. So this 72 bottles actually consists of 6 and 2 and multiples of 6 and 2 bottles, okay? So if let's say every 6 bottles he buys, he have 2 free bottles. So every time he buys 6 bottles, he actually have 8 bottles. Is that right? And how much would he pay for this? He actually will pay $5.45 because he essentially only need to pay for 6 bottles. So when he left with 72 bottles, so how many sets of 8 bottles did he buy? That will take, we'll actually take 72 divide by 8. And what do you get? If you want to do working, if you can't do your mental sum here, what is this? 9. 72, 0 equals to 9. So it's a total of 9 sets. And how much does each set cost? Each 6 bottles will cost $5.45. So he bought 9 groups of this. That's why you need to take 9 multiplied by $5.45. That will be how much you have to pay in all. So $5.45 multiplied by 9, what do we get? 9, 5, this is 45. 4 over here, carry up. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 4 is 40, 95, 45, 45 plus 4, $49. So in total, he has to pay $49.05. And they ask you to round off to the nearest dollar. So you will get $49. This will be the answer. Next, we look at question number 20. Question number 38. So this talks about Dorothy baked twice as many cookies as Kimberly. So when you know that it's twice as many, what do you remember by that? Okay, straight away you know yourself, that is times 2. That's the meaning of twice as many. Okay, let's carry on. And after Dorothy given away 120 cookies. So when it's given away, most likely is you have to use minus to her friends. Okay, so she gave away 120 to her friends, and after Dorothy gave 120 away, Kimberly has 3 times as many cookies as Dorothy. So Kimberly has 3 times as many as Dorothy. So this is asking you, Dorothy, how many did he bake at first? Looks a bit confusing over here. Let's try and break it down again. Kimberly and Dorothy. So Kimberly is 3. We use the ratio method. Dorothy will be 1 because 3 times as many. After he has given away 120. Okay, so initially Dorothy baked twice as many as Kimberly. So for Dorothy to Kimberly is 2 is to 1. Okay, 2 is to 1, 3 is to 1. Get it clearly. This is Kimberly. This is Dorothy. This is for Dorothy, and this is for Kimberly. Get it? The left and right must get it correctly. Okay? Let's take a look. How do we write? Let's write it in this way. Dorothy, Kimberly. So, at first, Dorothy is 2 is to Kimberly 1. Okay, after given away 120, Kimberly has 3 times. After you minus 120, Kimberly has 3 times as many as Dorothy. This becomes 3 is to 1. Okay, so what happened here? Who gave away the 120? You must take note of that. It's over here. Dorothy. Dorothy minus 120. That is the number of cookies. And what we have here, the 2 is to 1, 1 is to 3. These are units that we use to do ratio and to do the comparison to find. So we must make something equal. How do we make something equal? Since here we have this, we need to find the 120 is equal to how many units. We make this 2 the same base. How do we make this 2 the same? What are the commonality here? 1 in 3. Make it simple. This is 1 times 3 equals to 3. So when you times 3 here, you times 3 here as well is equals to 6. So now, we are comparing 3 is to 3, 6 is to 1. So Kimberly, no difference. But for Dorothy, from 6 units, reduced to 1 unit. So total, how many units did she give away? That number of units is 6 units minus 1 unit equals to 5 units. And this 5 units is how many cookies? You're right, 120 cookies. Okay, so you now know that 5 units is 120 cookies. So now they're asking you, how many cookies did Dorothy bake at first? Which is the one that Dorothy bakes at first? Which is how many units? 6 units. So if you know that 5 units is 120, then you have to find 1 unit is, you take 120 divide by 5. What do you get? 20 is 2 and 4. So you know that 1 unit is 24 cookies. And therefore 6 units is, you can just plus these two together, because when these two plus together is 6 units, 144 cookies. There's one way. Another way where you can do the calculation to find the 144, maybe let me just show you over here. Another way, if you want to find 6 units, is you take the 120 divided by 5 multiplied by 6. 120 divided by 5 multiplied by 6, which essentially will give you the same answer. So with 5, we divide by 5 is 1, 120 divided by 5 is 24. 24 multiplied by 6, 24 multiplied by 6, what do you get? 144 as well. Exactly the same answer. Okay, so if you can remember this formula, take what you want to know, divide by what you already know, multiply by the quantity that you want to find. Okay, what you want to know, divide by what you already know, divide by, multiply by the quantity that you want to find. This is the formula if you want to remember. If not, you can just reduce this to 1 unit and then followed by multiplying by the number of units that you want. Okay, next we'll look at question 39. This is talking about Madam Ong. Madam Ong actually baked 3/8 as many apple tarts as cupcakes. So when it comes to questions like this, which looks like fraction, one of the best way for you to solve it is to make use of ratio. Okay, so you know that apple tarts and cupcakes. So it's apple. Okay, wait. Let me just get rid of this. Switch color for you. Okay, apple tarts versus cupcakes. Apple tarts versus cupcakes. Okay, bake 3/8 as many apple tarts as cupcakes. So if cupcakes has the total of 8, how many is the apple tarts? 3/8 of cupcakes. So it's 3:8. Okay, this is the start. And here the question says that after she gave away some apple tarts to her friends, number of cupcakes becomes 4 times the number of apple tarts. Okay, and there were 18 apple tarts left. So these are some of the clues. You've got the number of times, you've got a fraction, and you've got this number. This number, you of course must equate it to some units. Okay, which is like this 3:8. This is 3 units versus 8 units. And this is 4 times the number of apple tarts. So for that, 4 times the number of apple tarts, number of cupcakes is 4 times the number of apple tarts. This is after she gave away apple tarts. After she gave away some apple tarts. So how many did she give away? That is what we need to find out as well. Okay, so that we can find the final answer, which is, what are they looking at? How many more cupcakes than apple tarts were there at first? More cupcakes than apple tarts were there at first, which is this, at first, right? So you must know that what you want to find has to be coming from this row. Okay, so looking at this, 18. Where are we going to find this 18 from? 18 are apple tarts, right? So it has to be from this column. This is called column, okay? This vertical, it has to be from here. Okay, the 18 has to come from here. So where are these 18 going to come from? Let's say number of cakes here. So she gave away the number of apple tarts. You have to find out from cupcakes. Make the cupcakes the same. How do you make these two the same? 8, can you make the 4 8? To make 4 equals to 8 is 4 times 2 equals to 8. So this also you take times 2 equals to 2. So now, you take a look. From 3 to become 2, this is minus 1 unit, right? Minus 1 unit. So to minus 1 unit, you will get 2 units left. So there were 18 apple tarts left. So is 18 apple tarts equals to 1 unit or 2 units or 3 units? Because this is what we have here. 3, 1, 2. Which one is it? There were 18 apple tarts left. For what is left, you're going to look at here. After they gave away 1 unit, Madam Ong left with 2 units. That is why 2 unit is equals to 18 apple tarts. So now you know that 2 units is 18 apple tarts. You need to find out how many more cupcakes than apple tarts were there at first. So you compare this to how many units are there? Is it? This is 8 here, this is 3, so the difference is 5 units. So you take 8 unit minus 3 unit equals to 5 unit. So you have to find out 5 units is how many number of cupcakes. So 2 is 18, 1 unit is 9, right? Because you take 18 divide by 2, that is 9. So after that you can find 5 unit is 45 cupcakes. Okay, just do a quick one on the recap of how to do it by the fractional cancellation method. Look at what you have here, 18, 2, and 5. Take what you want to know, which is 18, divide by what you already know, which is 2, times what you want to find out, which is 5. What is this equals to? 18 divided by 2 is 9. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we have 9 times 5 is 45. Same answer as this one. Okay, now we look at question number 40. Question number 40, let's read through it. After Jimmy has spent 3 out of 5 of his money, and Michael spent 5 out of 7 of his money, the boys had the same amount of money left. Okay, if Jimmy spent $45, find the amount of money Jimmy and Michael had at first. So you have to find out, eventually you have to find out Jimmy, Michael, how much they have at first. Let's take a look at the ratio. It's talking about spending. It's talking about how much left. Okay, so the table that we are going to form for the ratio can be a bit complicated. Okay, we are looking at Jimmy over here and Michael. Okay, so we look at how much he has spent, how much he had at first, and how much he actually have left. Okay, now let's look at without the left first. Okay, how much did Jimmy spend? Jimmy actually spent 3 out of 5. Initially, he has 5 units. He spent 3 units. And Michael spent 5 out of 7 units. So because this is what they spent, we got to find something that is equal. Okay, we got to make one of these two, either 5 and 7 equal the same number by take 5 times 7, 7 times 5, or take 3 times 5, 5 times 3, or just you know that straight away this is a 15, 3 and 5 straight away know it is 35. But which one should we use as a gauge? Okay, now let's find the clue from the number. the dollar sign here. This is $45. It's talking about how much Jimmy actually spent. So you need to know Jimmy has spent by how much, which is 45. Okay, so to do that, you have to make this two equal. Make the first equal. How to make these two equal? By taking 5 times 7 equals to 35. 7 times 5 equals to 35. Okay, times 7 here. Likewise for this, when you times 7 is 21. And this, when you times 5 is 25. Okay? So now you know that Jimmy spent $45. So $45 is the same as 21 units. So now you need to find how much both of them had at first, which is 35 units and 35 units. So what we have here is, essentially it seems that we don't need this left. So let me get rid of this. And let's take a look at the number of units. $45 is 21 units is $45. So now we have to find how many units in total. We need to find 70 units is how much? How to find this? Like what I taught you, this one you want to find 1 unit is going to be difficult because 45 you cannot divide by 21 units. What we have to do is put this big dollar sign here because this answer is going to be a dollar in dollars. Okay, take 45 divide by 21 multiply by 70 units. So which is what you want to know, divide by what you already know, times the quantity that you want. So by doing this multiplication, how are we going to do the cancellation? Let's take a look at 21 and 70. Can you divide this by, say, 7? Because since 70 divided by 7, you get 10. 21, can you divide by 7? Of course you can. So divide by 7 is 10. Divide by 7, you get 3. Okay, 10 and 3, can you divide anymore? Seems like not possible. Let's take a look at 45 and 3. Can you divide 45 by 3? Let's try it out here. 45 divided by 3, what do I get? 1, 3 minus 15. Looks like we can do it, which is 15. So you divide this by 3, you get 15. Divide by 3, you get 1. And eventually multiply these two together, 15 times 10, which is equals to 150. This will be your answer for how much Jimmy and Michael had at first. Because what they have at first is 35 and 35 units. Next, we look at question number 41. This is about shorts and t-shirts. Two things that you have to compare, and who are the people involved? Mrs. Tay and Mrs. Wong. So, Mrs. Tay actually bought 4 pairs of shorts, 6 t-shirts, and how much did she pay? $41.60. Mrs. Wong bought 3 pairs of shorts, 5 t-shirts, and paid $8 less than Mrs. Tay. So, and you're going to find the cost of 2 t-shirts. So, let's just write down what has been given in the question. Let's just write down for Mrs. Tay. She actually bought 4 shorts plus 6 t-shirts, and that is equals to $41.60. And Mrs. Wong, what did she buy? 3 pair of shorts, 5 t-shirts. She paid $8 less than Mrs. Tay. So $8 less than Mrs. Tay. What should you do? $41.60 minus $8. And what do you get? You still have 60 cents over here. $41 minus $8, you get $33. So she actually paid $33.60. So now you got to make something equal. Okay, now you have to find 2 t-shirts. That is what you want to find. Okay, how do you find the 2 t-shirts? In order to find the number of t-shirts, you have to get rid of the number of shorts. So to get rid of this number of shorts, you have to minus them off. Okay, you have to take this entire row minus by this entire row, which is take the number of shorts minus number of shorts, number of t-shirts minus number of t-shirts, followed by the number of dollars minus the number of dollars. How do you make these two the same? Looking at 4 and 3, what do you have? Okay, 4 and 3, the common will be 12. So you have to take 4 times 3 and 3 times 4. So what do you get? You will have, for Mrs. Tay, you have 12 shorts plus, is multiplied by 3 as well. You take this multiplied by 3 as well. Take this multiplied by 4. Take this multiplied by 4. Remember, when you do all this multiplication, make sure everything you're multiplying correctly. This entire row multiplied by 4. This entire row multiplied by 3. So 4 times 3, 12 shorts. 6 times 3, 18 t-shirts. Equals to how much money over here? $41.60. You multiply by 3, you get 0. 6 times 3, 18. You carry a $1 up here. This 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So it's total of $124.80. Don't be scared by the big numbers. Okay, the numbers here are big, but they are quite simple to work with. Simple multiplication, simple plus and minus. Okay, just got to be very careful with the workings. Next, for Mrs. Wong, 4 times 3 is 12 as well. 12 shorts plus, how many t-shirts here? 20 t-shirts equals to 33.6 multiplied by 4. So what do we get? 4 over here, carry a 2. 6 times 4 is 24. 2 over here. 4 times 3, 12 plus 2, 4. 12 plus 2 is 14. Okay? Remember, put a 1 here. 4 times 3, 12. 12 plus 1, 13. 134 point. This point is here after 2 digits. So likewise, 2 digits, you put the dot. 134.40. You have 134.40. Okay? Clear so far? What we want to do next? Okay, what we want to do next is you look at these two lines. You have 12 shorts here, 12 shorts here. So can you take this row and this row, minus them off? Which do you take to minus which one? Of course, you take the bigger dollar minus the smaller dollar. Okay, always take the bigger number minus off the smaller number. So you take this entire row here, minus away the top row. So 12 shorts minus 12 shorts, you get 0 shorts. Plus 20 shorts minus 18 shorts. How many shorts is that? And how many t-shirts is that? 20 t-shirts minus 18 t-shirts is 2 t-shirts. Equals to this minus this. How much is that? 134.40 minus 124.80. Okay, 40 cents minus 80 cents, not enough. Let's borrow from here. This becomes a 3. And I have a dollar, add a dollar here. 14 minus 8, you have 60 cents. 3 and 4, not enough. Might borrow from here. This becomes 2. This becomes 13. 13 minus 4, you have $9.60. So now we know that 2 t-shirts is $9.60. Then this is the answer you are looking for. Okay, next we're looking at a question on time. So for time, as usual, we're going to use timeline. How do we write timeline? Okay, let's go through this. The question, when it is 10 in Singapore, it is 12 in Sydney. Okay, so if 10 o'clock in Singapore and 12 o'clock in Sydney, who is having a faster time? You got to ask yourself, who is it? Sydney is faster. So you know that Sydney is faster, but how many hours faster? You look at this, you compare 12 and 10. How many hours is that? Sydney is plus 2 hours. Okay? Sydney is 2 hours ahead of Singapore. Okay? You can also say that they are 2 hours faster than Singapore. Okay? So if you draw a timeline, okay, we talk about timeline later. Okay? But note that it is ahead and it is also faster. Okay? And let's carry on with the question. A plane took off from Singapore at 10:45 in the morning and flew to Sydney. And when it landed in Sydney, the clock there showed 2055. How long did the flight actually take? For this type of questions, you got to choose one country as the base. Okay? Which means, what do I mean by choosing one country as the base? Which means it's either you change all the timing to Singapore time, or you change to Singapore time, or everything you use Sydney time. Okay? Since we are in Singapore, let's use Singapore. So, when it landed in Sydney, the clock actually shows 2055. And just now we talked about what? Sydney is how many hours faster? 2 hours faster. So when it landed in Sydney, 2055, what is the time in Singapore for 2055? 2055 hours in Sydney is what time in Singapore? 20 minus 2 hours, you have 18.55 hours in Singapore. Okay, understand this part? From this to this, 2 hours difference. Because Sydney is 2 hours faster than Singapore. Okay, so when the plane actually landed in Sydney at 20:55, the time in Singapore is actually 18:55. So now you have to find out how long did the flight actually take. The plane actually left Singapore at 10:55 and it landed in Sydney at 18:55 Singapore time. So with the timeline, (10:45) until 18:55. Okay, so 45, you look at this, closest to 45 here, closest to 18:45, you have 18, closest to 18:55 here, 18:45. So you have to find the time from here to here is how many hours, and here to here is how many minutes. 18:45 to 18:55, very straightforward, is 10 minutes. And this is how many hours? 10:45 to 18:45. Looking at hours, 8 minutes is the same, you can ignore. So you look at hours, 18 and 10, this is 8 hours. So how long did the flight actually take? It's total of 8 hours, 10 minutes. That's how you do the question. Okay, now we have reached the last question of the section C. Question number 43. Something to note, they tell you that the figure is not drawn to scale. Okay, something very important. So don't think that you look at this figure, it is a square means it's a square. Okay, it has to be that they tell you it's a square, then it is a square. Because they have already mentioned that this is not drawn to scale. So this diagram is made of two rectangles, A and B, and a square C. So A and B, they are rectangles and C is a square. The length of all the sides are whole number. So if you're doing your calculation, you start to have a decimal point or fraction or weird number that's not a whole number, something has gone wrong somewhere. Okay? Let's take a look at the question number 1. What is it that they're asking for? Asking you for the length of A, B. Length of AB. So where's length of AB? This is what you are looking for. Okay? Length of AB. They give you 64 square meter. This is what? Area of perimeter. Area, that is correct. So how do you find the area of C? Area of C is 64 is equals to, this is a square, 8 times 8. Therefore, AB equals to 8 meters. Okay? Let's take a look at question B. Question number B, they ask you to look for length of ED. Where's ED? This is ED. Okay? Let's take a look at ED. What do we know over here? This is a rectangle. What times what? You get 35. 21. What times what? You have 21. This is the line over here that they share. Okay? This two, A has this line, B also has this line. So this has to be the same. So you look at 21 and 35. What do you think is possible for the length of ED? Think about it. 21, 35. What are the common numbers inside 21 and 35? 21 you have 7 times 3. 35 you have 7 times 5. So this length ED equals to 7 meters, which means this is 3 meters, this is 5 meters, this is 7 meters. Okay, understand that? And next, for part C, the perimeter of the whole figure ACDF. So you need to find the perimeter of this whole figure here. So just now AB we have found that is 8. So here is 8 as well. Write them all down. 7 over here. ED is 7. BC is same. So it's 7 as well. And for AF, what is AF? AF is 8. So you have to do what? You have to take, let's start from this. AB, 8 plus 7 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus a last 8. Okay, count. How many numbers do we have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we need 7 numbers? Let's start from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, once you make sure that you got all this correct, you add all this together. What do you get? Let's take a look at a few numbers here. You've got 3 plus 5, 27. 27 is 14, right? 2 times 7, 14. Then what about 8? You have 3 8s over here, so 8 times 3 is 24. So you can get 8 plus 14 plus 24. Can you add this together? 8 and 14 you get 22 plus 24. Total you get 22 and 24 you get 46. 46 what? Meter. Okay? Remember, all these answers are in meters because they're asking for length and perimeter.